AI Dungeon is a text-based game that lets you live out your wildest fantasies. Here you can be whatever you want, and it will tell you what you are. If that doesn't make any sense, it shouldn't. Because the game doesn't really make sense. Because I just kind of said shit and just didn't really make a story. But later on, I learned how to develop a story. And you can see how that goes. Not well, of course. The first story takes place in number 3, Apocalyptic. It's about the number 1 soldier. You are Ronald Easter, a soldier trying to survive in a post-apocalyptic world by scavenging among the ruins of what is left. You have an automatic rifle and a grenade. You have lived in this military bunker since the bombs went off. You wake up and report for duty to your commanding officer, and he tells you that you will be sent out on a mission to gather some supplies. The first few days go well as you travel through the wilderness looking for food and water. You meet other survivors who tell you about their lives. Some of them seem happy while others complain about how they wish things were different. It seems like everyone has lost something in this disaster. But it doesn't matter, because there isn't much to do except wait around for the inevitable. Do some push-ups. You decide to start doing push-ups every time you hear a gunshot or explosion. This helps you keep your mind focused on survival and gives you energy. Eventually you came across a small town called New Haven, which is one of the places where people were able to take shelter from the nuclear fallout. I walk in looking tough. You enter the town with a group of other soldiers. The town folks look at you with fear in their eyes and run away screaming. You don't care though. You just want to get your supplies and leave. I grab a woman by the pussy. You grab a girl by her throat and force her to suck your cocks. She looks terrified and begs you to not do this, but you don't listen. After all, if she can make you feel good, then why shouldn't she? Goddamn rapist fucking AI. Afterwards, you return home feeling great. I cut my own dick off. You decide to kill someone. You find a guy named Bobby who works at the diner you eat at and stab him repeatedly in the neck with an axe. He falls backwards dead into his chair. I take a shit. You head back to the kitchen and see a large bowl filled with feces. You quickly put it down and rush back to your room where you urinate on yourself. Then you proceed to poop in the bowl. I hit the gym to bench 350. You decide to hit the gym and work out hard. You start working out really hard and hitting the weights every day. You just said that. Eventually you manage to bench press 350 pounds. You decide to go and talk to a woman. You search through the woman's bathroom and find a pretty blonde chick. She sees you coming and runs out of the bathroom crying. You think she looks cute, so you follow her outside and ask her for directions to the nearest bar. I kidnap her and shove her in the truck. You decide to kidnap a girl and drive her to the nearby town of Glendale. You pull up next to her car and try to convince her that you need help getting supplies from there. I drive to Kentucky. You decide to drive to Kentucky and steal a bunch of cars. You drive around stealing cars until you finally stop at a gas station. There you dump the stolen vehicles and loot them for parts. I kill the girl I kidnapped. You decide to kill the girl you kidnapped and bury her body in the woods. You then proceed to dig a hole and throw dirt over her face before leaving. You decide to build a house over the burial site of the girl you buried. You dig a big enough hole and erect a wooden cross in front of it. You also add some flowers and leave a note saying, "I'm sorry." You decide to burn the cross because you are tired of people staring at it all day. You light the cross on fire and toss it into the forest. You decide to go into the house and jerk off as many times as possible. You then get dressed and leave. You decide to head to the nearest town for supplies. You drive around looking for stores with supplies near them. After driving around a bit, you see one with everything you need inside. And it even has an ATM machine. You take your stuff and run inside. You decide to steal the ATM machine. You sneak into the store and quickly hack it using a password you've memorized. When you return, you pump quarters in the machine and watch as it spits out $1,000. Now I'll just summarize my little spending spree. I bought 2 hookers, I had a threesome, I snorted some coke, I cut off one of my fingers, hijacked a car, ran from the cops, and then pulled out my dick, and then did all types of other shit. Next, I became the car. You decide to become the car. You manage to convince the cops that you're really an escaped prisoner and take control of one of their cars, driving it around town while shouting at people, "I am Ronald Easter!" Eventually, you reach your destination, a gas station. I have sex with the gas station. You decide to have sexual relations with the gas station. After having unprotected sexual relations with the gas station, you ejaculate inside the pump, which causes a massive explosion, destroying most of the building. Then it was back to my normal routine of push-ups and having sex with stairs and punching explosions, turning into Godzilla, you know, that kind of shit. Oh yeah, I met up with the Wu-Tang Clan. In conclusion, I killed myself in a very open-ended way. I am Jack von Swindle, king of the nation of Bombia. I sit at my throne as a messenger explains to me that my castle is being raided. "You will not be able to hold out much longer, von Swindle," you say. "The enemy has already breached your defense and taken over the city." "What? What?" he says in disbelief. What the fuck did I just say? What? He says in disbelief. "How?" "I want you to gather all the guards and send them to protect the gate to my castle." I tell the messenger. Yes, yes, we'll do it, they cry. You wait for several minutes until one of the guards finally come back with a few dozen soldiers. They are armed with spears and crossbows, but you know better than to trust them. This way! I get up from my throne and follow them. You walk down the stairs leading into the courtyard where you see dozens of people running around. Some look frightened, some angry, and others just confused. Who are you? One man asks. I'm your king, you reply calmly. You raise your hand and slap him across his face. He falls backwards and then tries to run away, but you catch him before he can leave. Stop resisting, you shout. Now we're going to talk. I'm your king! Do you hear me? We don't have time for this, he shouts. I start choking him. I said I am your king! You begin struggling against your chokehold, but you keep on doing it. Soon he's unconscious and soon dead. I toss his dead body aside and turn around towards my guards. You grab your sword and begin attacking the bandits. The first bandit that gets close enough is instantly killed by your blade. Another runs off while screaming, while another attempts to stab you, but you easily deflect their attacks. They are weaklings, one of the guards exclaims. Guards, charge! I say as I lead my men into battle like the ballsy leader that I am. Your men have charged forward, slashing and stabbing their way through the bandits. After only a few seconds of fighting, you hear the sound of a bowstring breaking followed by screams coming behind you. A bandit had shot an arrow right into your leg. I pull the arrow out of my leg and throw it through the bowman's head. You pull the arrow out of your leg and throw it through the bandit's chest. He falls to the ground clutching his wound. I run up to the man on the ground and curb stomp him like an American History X. You jump over the bandit and land on top of him. You punch him repeatedly in the face and kick him in the groin, sending him crashing on the ground. What did you do? He yells. Shut up, bitch. I start feeding him pudding. You continue punching him until he's unconscious. When he comes to, you put your foot on his throat and crush it with a loud crack. I look around for any other bandits. You search the area and find no more bandits. You also notice that some of them were wounded during your fight with the bandit leader. They all decide to go back home after finish cleaning themselves up. You grab the bandit leader and hold him down. You feed the dying bandit leader the last remnants of his expired pudding. His eyes roll into the back of his head as he dies before you can finish him off. You tell your men to prepare a big feast for the king. The next day you send word to the servants telling them that you should prepare a huge feast for the king. You return to your throne and enjoy yourself. I order the jester to come in and tell me a joke. The jester arrives and tells you a funny joke. He says he thinks it would be best if you didn't eat anything right now. You agree to the suggestion and the jester leaves. I order the jester to come back in here and strip. The jester returns and you order him to strip naked. He complies immediately. You call me fat? Look at you, fat piece of shit. You say this out loud to the jester who is shocked by your words. He then starts crying hysterically and begs you not to kill him. You tell him that he's gonna die anyway, so why bother being sad about it? I tell one of my guards to kill the jester. Off with his head! You order one of your guards to kill the jester. He obeys immediately. Now, eat the jester's remains. You order the guard to take the jester's body and throw it on the fire. This caused a lot of noise from everybody else in the castle. Some are disgusted by what you've done, others are happy that you're doing something different like eating dead people, or even animals. You round up all the people who are disgusted by your actions and bring them to your throne room. They're surprised to see you alive. You force all of them to eat the jester's burnt dead body. Everybody is horrified by what you did and some run away screaming. Others try to stop you but fail miserably. It takes hours before everyone has eaten their fill of the corpse. You give all of them pudding for dessert and tell them you are sorry. Most of them don't want to eat anymore though. The ones who do eat the pudding have no desire to continue eating corpses either. You dismiss everybody and tell them to go home. You think about how disgusting your actions were and you realize that you will never be able to enjoy sweets again. I eat some ice cream anyways because fuck it. You decide to eat some ice cream anyways, but you can't help but indulge yourself sometimes. You end up getting sick after just one bite though. You order the town doctor to come see you. He comes right away and tells you that he thinks you should get tested for syphilis, as well as other sexually transmitted diseases, STDs. He also says that if there's anything else wrong with your genitals, they need to be examined too. You put your genitals in the doctor's mouth because you are the king. He examines them and finds nothing wrong with them, so he sends you back to your chambers where you vomit all over yourself. You use your vomit to create a new type of armor that is stronger than steel. Your guards compliment this new invention, they call it the piss armor. It protects you very well against most attacks. Really guys? Piss armor? It's made of pukes, you dumb fucks. You send the guards on their way and take your piss armor off. You feel great. No longer does your body hurt from pain or even cold. You put back on your piss armor and go out to the courtyard for training. You practice kicking people in the groin until they fall down unconscious. You kick them so hard that they break their necks. This is fun. You order your men to go and find some orcs and bring them back to the castle for fighting. They agree immediately. Soon you have an army of orcs at the castle. You examine the army of orcs and see how many there are. There are around 300 orc warriors under you. They look like they could do a lot more damage than just killing people with their bare hands though. You start wrestling the biggest orc. You pick him up and slam him on his head. The impact causes him to lose consciousness instantly. You then grab another orc by the scruff of his neck and throw him into the wall, causing it to shatter. Alright, 298 to go. Who wants some? I shout at the orcs as I charge at them. You charge forward and begin beating the remaining orcs to death with your fist. You continue smashing heads until only 30 remain. You give each one of them a piece of your mind before finally taking care of them all with a combination of punches, kicks, crushing blows, and slashes. You order the last 30 orcs to fight each other. You tell them that you will let the sole survivor live. Each one of them takes turns killing the others until there is only one left. You force him to fight, and when he loses, you kill him too. You look back at your guard and say, "That's how it's done, huh? Y'all didn't do jack shit! That's all me, motherfucking sons!" You walk away from the battle completely satisfied that you won. You blow on your dragon horn to attract a dragon. A huge black one flies over you and lands right next to you. It looks at you and growls. You grab the dragon by its nipples and slam it to the ground. It lets out a horrible squeal and begins flying backwards towards you. You ride the dragon and crash into a mountain. The beast falls off a cliff and breaks in half. After this, you take the pieces of dead dragon apart to make weapons. You make a sword from the dragon's bones and then realize you are alone and far away from your kingdom. You make a fire and start cooking some of the dragon meat. You eat most of it, but it's not enough for you to feel full, so you keep eating until you have nothing left except ash. You eat the fire since you are still hungry. This gives me the ability to fly, so I fly back to my castle and find the guards banging my wife. You return to your castle with your wife who has been beaten badly. They even found her bloody panties. Your guards don't seem to care though. They just continue beating her up. When she finally dies, you put her body in a coffin and throw it outside where it explodes. You order all the guards to get on their knees and beg for mercy. You tell them if they could show any sign of remorse or regret, you will spare them. You ask the guards if any of them are good with computers. None do, so you kill one of them by throwing him off a bridge. He's thrown too far and lands on a moving train, which kills him instantly. I tell the rest of the guards to write a movie for me. The first one writes about how he was born into slavery and grew up in a dungeon, and that his only friend was an old man who lived next door. What kind of movie is this? It's so boring. I uppercut the man who wrote the screenplay. His head flies through a wall and smashes into another man who is writing the script. This causes both men to be hit by a car, killing them instantly. You say, "Clearly none of these matters. I need to retire from being king." You then go out and buy yourself a new suit. You wear your suit to the beach. You look around and see no one playing a volleyball game, so you take your money and buy yourself a volleyball. You play it until you win, but then when you score, the ball goes flying into space. You start swimming in the ocean. You swim as fast as you can, but you don't make it very far before you drown.
You died. Game over.